All right, so are you ready to like travel back in time with us? Because today we're going deep into the world of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We're doing a deep dive into the top 10's list of the top 10 best dinosaurs. And I gotta say, it's not just like a straightforward ranking, you know? This list is like full of opinions, strong opinions, and we're gonna try to figure out what really grabs people's attention about these prehistoric creatures.
Right.
Is it their size? Is it how fierce they were, you know, those unique features, or something else entirely? So get ready for some surprises.
It really is fascinating, you know, how dinosaurs just keep on grabbing our attention even after millions of years.
I know. It's awesome.
This top 10 list that we have is a great way to see what aspects of these creatures really resonate with people, and often those aspects have some really cool science behind them.
Okay, so let's start with the dinosaur that like always seems to steal the show.
Yeah.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Of course.
It's like no shocker to see it at the top of the list. But I was really interested in some of the debate that surrounds this king of the dinosaurs. Some people on this list are like totally convinced that its massive size means it was a hunter, not a scavenger, while others are saying that its bite just wasn't designed for taking down big prey.
Interesting.
What does the fossil record actually tell us about T-Rex's hunting style?
Well, the T-Rex debate is a classic one in paleontology.
Right.
And while its size is definitely impressive, it's not the only thing to consider.
Right.
We really need to look at, you know, the biomechanics of its jaws, its teeth, even its leg structure to get a fuller picture.
Oh, wow.
And the fossil evidence is actually pretty interesting. There's evidence of a T-Rex tooth embedded in a Triceratops frill.
Whoa.
Which suggests that they weren't afraid to go after some pretty tough prey.
Wow, a T-Rex versus a Triceratops. Now that's a battle I would pay to see.
I know.
But if T-Rex was a hunter, was it a solo act or did they hunt in packs?
That's a great question, and it's one that still has paleontologists debate. Yeah. There is some fossil evidence that suggests they may have lived in groups, but whether that translated to coordinated hunting is still unclear. I mean, it's really cool to imagine a pack of these behemoths working together to bring down prey, but more research is definitely needed to say for sure.
Okay, I'll admit the thought of a pack-hunting T-Rex is a little bit terrifying. But speaking of terrifying, this list throws down a challenger to the T-Rex's throne, Spinosaurus.
Interesting.
Some people on this list actually claim that it was even larger than T-Rex and call it the ultimate carnivorous land animal.
Wow.
Because of his powerful arms and potential size advantage.
Wow.
I've always pictured Spinosaurus battling T-Rex on land, but I know there's a lot of debate about its lifestyle.
Right.
What's your take on that?
The Spinosaurus is a really unique dinosaur, and its anatomy has sparked a lot of discussion among scientists.
I bet.
While those huge claws are certainly intimidating, its overall body structure suggests it was primarily adapted for an aquatic lifestyle.
Oh.
Yeah, its long, narrow snout and those cone-shaped teeth are similar to modern crocodiles, which are mainly fish eaters.
Oh, okay.
And plus, recent studies have shown that its bone density was much higher than most land-dwelling dinosaurs, which made it better suited for buoyancy in water.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So a Spinosaurus versus T-Rex showdown on land is probably more fiction than reality.
It's definitely more of a what-if scenario.
Right.
You know, while it's fun to think about based on what we know about their adaptations, a land-based battle just wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah, I guess not.
The Spinosaurus was likely more at home in the water, hunting fish and other aquatic creatures, while the T-Rex was really the apex predator on land.
Right. Two different domains.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So while the Clash of the Titans might be a bit of a stretch, it's still super cool to think about these two giants just dominating their own separate environments.
Exactly.
Speaking of giants, let's move on to another dinosaur that looms large in the public imagination, the Brachiosaurus. One user on this list even dreams of having a Brachiosaurus as a pet.
A pet?
I mean, who wouldn't want a gentle giant like strolling through their backyard, right? But seriously, what was it about these massive sauropods that made them so successful?
Well, sauropods like Brachiosaurus were truly remarkable creatures.
Yeah.
Their long necks let them reach vegetation that other herbivores just couldn't get to, giving them a huge advantage.
Makes sense.
And their massive size also acted as a deterrent to predators.
Of course.
It's hard to imagine, you know, taking down an animal that weighs tens of tons and towers several stories high.
I can only imagine the ground shaking with every step they took.
Oh, yeah.
But with such big bodies, how did they even manage to get around?
That's a really good question.
I know.
It's amazing to think about the biomechanics involved in moving such a massive body.
Yeah.
Scientists believe that sauropods had a system of air sacs throughout their bodies that helped to reduce their overall weight and improve their respiratory efficiency.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, think of it like a giant biological hot air balloon, helping them to support their enormous size.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing how evolution can produce such mind-boggling adaptations.
It really is.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the biggest names in the dinosaur world, but this list also highlights some lesser-known creatures.
Right.
One that caught my eye was Carcharodontosaurus, which one user describes as underrated.
Okay.
What can you tell us about this mysterious giant?
Well, Carcharodontosaurus was another massive predator that lived alongside Spinosaurus in what is now North Africa.
Wow.
Its name actually means shark-toothed lizard, and for a good reason. It had incredibly sharp serrated teeth, kind of like those of a great white shark.
Oh, wow.
Which would have been devastatingly effective for slicing through flesh.
Ooh, shark teeth on a dinosaur. Now that's a scary combination.
Right.
It sounds like Carcharodontosaurus was a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of forces to be reckoned with, the list also features a dinosaur that's been getting a lot of attention lately, the Therizinosaurus. This herbivore had these massive claws that have paleontologists scratching their heads.
Right.
What do you think those claws were used for?
Well, the Therizinosaurus is a fascinating example of how appearances can be deceiving in the dinosaur world.
Yeah.
Those claws are truly impressive, but they weren't for hunting prey.
Really?
Yeah, this dinosaur was a herbivore, and scientists think those claws were mainly used for gathering vegetation,
Oh.
pulling down branches, and maybe even for defense against predators.
Interesting.
Imagine a Therizinosaurus rearing up on its hind legs and slashing with those massive claws. It would definitely make any predator think twice.
Okay, so it wasn't the Freddy Krueger of the dinosaur world, but it still sounds pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that there's always more to learn about these incredible creatures.
Absolutely.
Now, this list also reminds us that not all dinosaurs were giants.
Right.
Let's talk about the Velociraptor.
Okay.
Thanks to Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
most people picture them as sleek, human-sized killing machines. But the list sets the record straight on their actual size.
Yeah. Hollywood definitely took some liberties with the velociraptors.
Yeah, for sure.
In reality, they were much smaller, closer to the size of a turkey, and they had feathers.
Wait, feathers. So they're basically like giant predatory birds.
That's a pretty accurate description. And while they might not have been as imposing as their movie counterparts, they were still incredibly agile and intelligent hunters. They likely hunted in packs, using their sharp claws and teeth to bring down prey much larger than themselves.
Okay, maybe not as cuddly as a turkey, but still fascinating creatures.
For sure.
And speaking of fascinating, let's talk about another dinosaur that's known for its unique features, the Stegosaurus.
All right.
I've always been intrigued by those iconic plates and badass spikes.
Yeah.
But what was their purpose? Were they just for show, or did they serve a more practical function?
Well, the function of those plates is still a bit of a mystery, and there are several theories. Some scientists think they played a role in regulating body temperature,
Oh,
while others think they were primarily for display, either to attract mates or intimidate rivals.
interesting.
As for those tail spikes, there's no doubt they were used for defense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Imagine a Stegosaurus swinging that spiked tail at a predator. It would definitely inflict some serious damage.
No kidding. It's amazing to think about the evolutionary pressures that led to such incredible adaptations.
It really is.
Okay, before we move on to some more unique dinosaurs, we have to talk about another fan favorite, the Triceratops.
Oh yeah, everybody loves Triceratops.
This list suggests that Triceratops could even take down a T-Rex. What makes them such formidable opponents?
Well, Triceratops is a classic example of how prey animals evolved incredible defenses to survive alongside giant predators.
Right?
Those three horns weren't just for show.
I bet not.
They could have been used for defense, potentially even inflicting fatal wounds on a predator like T-Rex.
Whoa, that's intense.
And let's not forget their massive frill,
Yeah.
which could have acted as a shield to protect their neck and shoulders.
Wow, so it wasn't just a gentle grazer. It was like a walking tank with horns.
Pretty much.
It seems like the prehistoric world was just a constant battle for survival.
It really was.
Speaking of battles, this list also features a dinosaur that's been called a living tank, the Ankylosaurus.
Oh yeah, the Ankylosaurus.
What made this dinosaur such a tough nut to crack?
Ankylosaurus was like a walking fortress.
Oh, wow.
It had armor plating covering its entire body from its head to its tail.
That's incredible.
As if that wasn't enough, it also had a club-like tail that could deliver a bone-shattering blow.
Wow, that's crazy. So it was basically the medieval knight of the dinosaur world.
Exactly.
Wow.
Ankylosaurus is just a fantastic example of the evolutionary arms race between predators and prey.
Yeah.
As predators evolved more sophisticated hunting strategies, prey animals like Ankylosaurus developed equally impressive defenses to survive.
It's like a prehistoric game of chess,
Yeah, it is.
with each species evolving new strategies to outmaneuver the other.
Ah.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of heavy hitters today, but there are so many more fascinating dinosaurs on this list that we need to explore.
There really are.
So buckle up, because our deep dive into the top 10 best dinosaurs continues.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome back to our prehistoric adventure. We're continuing our deep dive into the top 10s list of the top 10 best dinosaurs, and we're about to meet some dinos that might surprise you.
You got that right. This list isn't just about the big names or the fiercest predators. It's a fascinating mix of popular favorites, personal preferences, and even a few dinosaurs that might challenge our assumptions about these ancient creatures.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The list features a dinosaur called Dakotaraptor. And to be honest, I'm not that familiar with it. What's the story with this dino?
Well, Dakotaraptor lived alongside some of the most iconic dinosaurs of the late Cretaceous period. You know, Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus, Rex Ankylosaurus, you name it.
Wow, what a lineup.
I know, right? And while it might not be as famous as those giants, it was a force to be reckoned with in its own right. Imagine a raptor similar to a velociraptor, but significantly larger, maybe around 16 feet long.
Wow, a giant raptor roaming around with T-Rex. That's a scene I wouldn't want to stumble upon. So if it was bigger than Velociraptor, does that mean it was also a pack hunter?
That's a great question, and it's one that paleontologists are still trying to answer. While there's no direct evidence of pack hunting in Dakotaraptor, its close relationship to other raptors like Deinonychus suggests it's a possibility.
Makes sense.
And if they did hunt in packs, they would have been formidable predators capable of taking down some pretty large prey.
Okay, so maybe steer clear of the late Cretaceous period entirely. Now, the next dinosaur on this list is the Deltadromeus, and the source describes it as a giant raptor related to some of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs like Giganotosaurus. But I thought those giant predators were mainly found in South America, whereas Deltadromeus fossils have been found in North Africa. How does that fit into the evolutionary puzzle?
That's a really insightful observation. The presence of these large predatory dinosaurs on different continents is a fascinating piece of the puzzle when we try to understand the movement of land masses and the evolution of dinosaur lineages over millions of years.
It's mind-boggling to think about how much the world has changed over that time.
It really is. During the time of Deltadromeus, the continents were arranged differently than they are today.
Oh, of course.
What we now know as Africa and South America were once part of a larger supercontinent called Gondwana.
Right, Gondwana.
This allowed for the exchange of fauna, including dinosaurs, between these land masses.
It's like a prehistoric family reunion with these giant predators spread across continents. That's amazing. Okay, so we've got giant raptors now. Let's talk about another dinosaur that often gets overshadowed by T-Rex, the Giganotosaurus. The source calls it big, mean, and potentially even a pack hunter. It sounds like it was giving T-Rex a run for its money in the apex predator category.
Oh, absolutely. Giganotosaurus was truly a behemoth, potentially even larger than T-Rex.
Oh, really?
It roamed what is now Argentina during the late Cretaceous period, and its fossil remains suggest it was a formidable predator. While there's no definitive evidence of pack hunting, some scientists believe that its large size and the discovery of multiple individuals in the same area could indicate some level of social behavior.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so picture this. A pack of Giganotosaurus taking down a massive sauropod. That would be an epic battle. Speaking of epic battles, the next dinosaur on this list has been called the serial killer of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
The Utahraptor. It's described as a supersized velociraptor growing up to a terrifying 30 feet long. With teeth, arm, foot claw, speed, brain, feathers, size, it sounds like the ultimate predator.
Utahraptor was a fearsome predator indeed. It was significantly larger than most other raptors, and its fossil remains suggest it was well equipped for hunting. Those large claws on its hind feet would have been devastating weapons capable of inflicting serious damage on prey. And its intelligence, as indicated by its relatively large brain size, would have made it a cunning and efficient hunter.
Okay, I'm officially adding Utahraptor to my list of dinosaurs I'd never want to meet in a dark alley. Now let's move on to a dinosaur that's known for its distinctive horns. The Carnotaurus. The source compares it to a meat-eating bull, which is a pretty accurate description given those horns above its eyes.
Yeah, it's a great analogy. Carnotaurus was a unique theropod dinosaur with those prominent horns, a short, deep skull, and incredibly small forelimbs. Those horns were probably used for display, maybe to attract mates or intimidate rivals, and they could have even been used in headbutting contests.
I'd love to have seen a Carnotaurus headbutting contest. That would have been a sight to behold. Okay, let's talk about another dinosaur that gets a lot of attention, but maybe not always for the right reasons. The Dilophosaurus, thanks to Jurassic Park. Most people picture it spitting venom and having a frill around its neck. But the source reminds us that the movie version isn't quite accurate.
Right. Hollywood took some creative liberties with Dilophosaurus. In reality, there's no evidence to suggest it had a frill or venom. It was a relatively large theropod reaching around 20 feet in length, and it had a distinctive double crest on its head.
Oh, interesting.
While its exact purpose is unknown, it may have been used for display or species recognition.
So no frills and no venom. That's a bit of a letdown, but it still sounds like an impressive dinosaur. Now, the next dinosaur on this list might give you a headache just thinking about it. The Pachycephalosaurus. It's described as the thick-headed lizard, and for good reason. One user even imagines having a Pachycephalosaurus-like skull, picturing themselves knocking things down without fear of a concussion.
That's a funny image, but those thick skulls were definitely not for casual headbutting. Pachycephalosaurus and its relatives were a group of dinosaurs known for the thickened skull roofs, often adorned with bumps and knobs. While there's still debate about the exact function of these thickened skulls, the most likely theory is that they were used for headbutting contests, either for dominance within a herd or to defend themselves against predators.
Wow, imagine the force of those impacts. Okay, we've talked about some pretty tough dinosaurs today, but the next one on the list is all about speed. The Gallimimus, I actually remember seeing them in Jurassic Park, racing across the plains in that epic stampede scene.
You're right, Gallimimus was one of the stars of that scene, and its portrayal in the movie wasn't too far off from what we know about its real-life counterpart. It was an ostrich-like dinosaur adapted for speed and agility. Its long legs, slender body, and lack of teeth suggest it was a fast runner, likely capable of reaching speeds up to 30 miles per hour.
30 miles per hour. That's faster than I can run. Okay, next up is a dinosaur that truly embodies the word gigantic, the Argentinosaurus. One user argues that it deserves a much higher spot on the list, emphasizing its colossal size, estimated to be between 75 and 80 metric tons.
Argentinosaurus was a true titan, one of the largest land animals to have ever walked the earth. It was a sauropod belonging to the same group as Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus, but it was significantly larger than either of those giants. Its immense size is a testament to the incredible diversity and adaptability of dinosaurs.
It's mind-boggling to try to picture a creature that massive. I bet it felt like the ground was shaking with every step it took.
Okay, we've talked about size and speed. Now let's talk about intelligence. The next dinosaur on this list is the Troodon, described as a killing machine, with all the best qualities of Velociraptor, but taken to the extreme.
Troodon was a relatively small dinosaur, but it's believed to have been one of the most intelligent dinosaurs to have ever lived. It had a relatively large brain for its body size, and its fossil remains suggest it had excellent vision and hearing, which would have made it a skilled hunter.
So it was like the brainiac of the dinosaur world.
Exactly. Troodon is a fascinating example of how intelligence can be just as important as size or strength when it comes to survival in the prehistoric world.
Okay, our deep dive continues, and we've got even more amazing dinosaurs to explore. Get ready for more prehistoric surprises as we uncover the secrets of the top 10 best dinosaurs. Welcome back, fellow dino enthusiasts. We're wrapping up our epic journey through the top 10's list of the top 10 best dinosaurs, and we've saved some truly remarkable creatures for last. We have. It's been a great journey so far.
It really has. We've covered some of the most iconic and awe-inspiring dinosaurs. But this list also highlights the incredible diversity of the dinosaur world.
Yes, it does.
Showcasing species that might not be as famous, but are equally fascinating.
Definitely.
So let's dive right in. The list features a dinosaur called Baryonyx. And to be honest, I need a quick refresher. What makes this dino stand out from the prehistoric crowd?
Well, Baryonyx was a really unique predator, adapted for a very specific niche in its environment. It lived in what is now Europe during the early Cretaceous period, and its most striking feature was its long, slender snout and massive claw on its thumb, kind of reminiscent of Spinosaurus.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, these adaptations suggest a fascinating lifestyle centered around fishing.
A fishing dinosaur. That's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah.
Most of the predators we've talked about seem like they were all about brute force.
Yeah.
But Baryonyx sounds like it was more of a specialist.
Exactly. Its long snout and sharp conical teeth were perfect for grabbing slippery fish.
Makes sense.
And that massive claw would have been incredibly effective for spearing or hooking them.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a great example of how evolution can lead to some very specialized adaptations, even among fearsome predators.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so Baryonyx was the master angler of the dinosaur world. Now, the next dinosaur on this list is the Styracosaurus, and I have to say it's a personal favorite of mine. Those horns are just incredible. What do you think they were used for?
Oh yeah, the Styracosaurus is definitely a head-turner with its impressive array of horns and spikes, and you're right, those horns were likely more than just decoration. Scientists think they could have been used for a whole bunch of things.
Well, like what?
Like defense against predators, attracting mates, or even establishing dominance within a herd.
So many possibilities. It's fascinating.
It is.
I can picture them now, locking horns in a prehistoric battle for supremacy. Okay, now let's talk about a dinosaur that seems like it was built for speed. The Gallimimus. I remember seeing them in Jurassic Park running alongside those jeeps in that epic stampede scene. Did they really move that fast?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gallimimus was definitely a speed demon. It's thought to have been one of the fastest dinosaurs.
Really? How fast are we talking?
Capable of reaching speeds up to 35 miles per hour?
35 miles per hour. That's incredible.
It is, isn't it?
That's way faster than I can run.
Their long, slender legs, lightweight body, and lack of teeth all point to an adaptation for running.
Right, makes sense.
They likely use their speed to escape predators and maybe even to chase down small prey.
So they were both the hunted and the hunter in some cases.
Possibly, yeah. It's fascinating to think about.
Okay, next up is a dinosaur that takes the concept of long neck to a whole new level. The Mamenchisaurus. How does it compare to other sauropods, like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus?
Well, Mamenchisaurus was a truly remarkable sauropod with a neck that could reach up to 50 feet in length.
50 feet.
That's longer than a school bus.
That's insane. I can't even imagine.
Scientists believe that this incredibly long neck allowed them to browse vegetation high up in the trees, giving them access to food sources that other herbivores just couldn't reach.
It's like having your own personal crane.
Right.
I can't even imagine trying to hold up a neck that long. Okay, now let's talk about a dinosaur that sounds like it was built for defense.
The Polacanthus. What made this dino so tough?
Polacanthus was an armored dinosaur, kind of similar to Ankylosaurus,
Okay.
but with a slightly different arrangement of armor plates and spikes. It was a herbivore, and its armor would have provided excellent protection against predators.
That makes sense. I guess if you can't run away, you got to have some other defense mechanism.
Exactly. Imagine a predator trying to bite through those bony plates and spikes.
Ouch, that doesn't sound fun.
It'd be like trying to chew through a suit of armor.
It sounds like it was practically invincible. Okay, now for a dinosaur that I have to admit I find absolutely adorable, the Psittacosaurus. It's described as a small, feathered dinosaur with a beak, and I can't help but picture it as the cutest little herbivore ever.
Oh, the Psittacosaurus was definitely a charming dinosaur. It was relatively small, about the size of a large dog.
Oh, and its fossil remains often preserve evidence of feathers, which suggests it might have been quite fluffy.
Oh, so cute.
And its beak-like mouth was perfect for nipping off leaves and other vegetation.
I just want to give it a hug. Okay, now let's talk about a dinosaur that sounds like it could rival the raptors in terms of fear factor. The Megaraptor. Was it really as big and scary as its name suggests?
Megaraptor was definitely a large and fearsome predator, but its name is a bit misleading.
Oh, really? How so?
Despite its name, it wasn't actually a true raptor. It was a type of theropod dinosaur that had a massive claw on its hand,
Oh, okay.
which it likely used to hunt prey. It's a great example of how convergent evolution can lead to similar features evolving in unrelated groups of animals.
So it was like the great white shark of the dinosaur world. Okay, now let's talk about a dinosaur that's a classic for a reason. The iguanodon. It seems like one of those dinosaurs that everyone learns about in elementary school. What makes it so memorable?
Well, iguanodon was one of the first dinosaurs to be discovered and named.
Oh.
And its fossils have been found all over the world. It was a large herbivore with a distinctive thumb spike that it might have used for defense or for foraging.
Interesting.
Iguanodon is a crucial piece of the puzzle in understanding the evolution of dinosaurs, and its discovery helped to spark the field of paleontology.
It's amazing to think about how much we've learned about dinosaurs since those early discoveries.
Okay, we've reached the final dinosaur on our list, and it's one that I've never even heard of before, the Amargasaurus. What makes this dino so unique?
Amargasaurus was a sauropod, but unlike the long-necked giants we've talked about, it had a really striking feature. 2 rows of spines running down its neck and back.
Spines, what were those for?
Well, the purpose of those spines is still debated, but they might have been used for display, defense, or even for regulating body temperature.
Wow, that's an incredible adaptation. Sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of our journey through the top 10 best dinosaurs, and I have to say it's been an incredible adventure. It really has. We've explored such a fascinating array of prehistoric creatures.
It's mind-blowing to think about the diversity and wonder of the dinosaur world.
Yeah.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
Ooh, I like that.
Based on what we've learned today, which dinosaur would you choose as your champion in a prehistoric showdown? Think about their size, their weapons, their defenses, their intelligence, all the factors that might give them an edge in a battle for survival.
And don't forget to think about their environment and their lifestyle. A dinosaur that thrives in a dense forest might not do so well on an open plain and vice versa. It's all about finding the right dinosaur for the right battleground.
Exactly. So let us know your picks on social media, and let's keep the dinosaur conversation going. Thanks for joining us on this prehistoric adventure.